Hi, everyone. Dallin Ian back with Susanita and Matt in our continuing series on our new strategic plan. And we're breaking it down and point by point going through different parts of the plan. And now we're on to one of the other major planks. And there's three that kind of cover off the main thrust of our strategic plan. I'll just recap those. The first was to elevate the realtor profession. And we spent a lot of time on that one. It's close to the heart and now very much top of mind. The second stage was where we discussed deliver member-driven services and experiences, and it's hard not to jump in and start announcing things there. So, but now we're going to talk about strengthening future readiness for realtors, and we're in an environment where things are changing fast. In fact, we almost take that for granted. Everybody talks about the pace of change and how quick things are changing and how consumer demands are changing things, but when we say future readiness, Susanita, what are we really talking about? Give us the good stuff.
Oh, the good stuff. Well, so as I mentioned before, we have this wonderful committee called the Member Services Innovation Standing Committee, and their job is to look at all of the tech past, present, and future to make sure that we have the tools that are leading edge that are going to help all of our members conduct their businesses faster, better, more professionally going forward. But the future is really kind of unknown. And so this part of our strategic plan, this pillar, is really all about trying to make sure we're getting ahead. We're looking towards the future. We're looking at the things that are coming into our industry and how we can perhaps utilize those things to help our members succeed. Obviously, AI is a huge part of most realtors' business now. CREB is really looking at anything that we can utilize with AI in order to enhance the member experience, but that's just one thing. There are so many other things that could happen, and we're just open. We're open to it.
So, Matt, what other changes? Susanita was presenting AI as the big one, and it's got so many applications. We're looking at it internally. We're probably by the time this is running, we're probably announcing a few things that we're doing, and we've been very careful about it. And first of all, wanted to understand how we could benefit from using AI. So it's not like we need to jump on everything that's out there, but in terms of other changes, what else is coming at us?
I think Susanita nailed it with we don't know what we don't know. The future's unknown. The world is so fast-paced now. Changes come at us daily in terms of industry changes, regulatory changes, governance. Like, the world's evolving and we have to evolve with it. And so this pillar was really about being prepared to embrace that change, get ahead of the change, as Susanita mentioned, and make sure that our members are well prepared and well served by their board of directors and this organization to get into that. So, I mean, what that's going to look like, I honestly don't know, but we have to be listening. We have to be ready. We have to adapt quickly and be nimble and be able to act on things as they come up. I mean, you look at what's happening in the US and the regulatory environment, that's making its way into Canada. We've got to be prepared for what that might mean for our members and what those changes might look like. And talked a lot already in previous segments about the improving professionalism, and that's an ever growing and changing piece of our environment. And that's being future ready as well. So it can mean a lot of different things. So this one is a little,
well, and I like where you're going with this though. There's things coming that we maybe can or can't see, the black swan, gliding out onto our last little pond and disrupting things. But I can't help but think about what Mike Tyson said one time, that everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. and I think there are some punches in the face that are either in our midst or coming soon. I mean, we have 2 class action lawsuits happening in Canada that were unheard of, and we're managing that and anticipating that there could be some change. We're watching a lot of change happening in the U.S., and their laws are similar but different, but we tend to follow trends in consumer thinking. And I think that's the dimension to changes in law. Is the law reflecting changes in consumer expectations and consumer realities, or are they getting out ahead of them? And I think typically it's a combination of those things. And even still, an organization like CREB that represent folks like realtors who are very adept at managing, new situations and new change, there's still that reality that we don't need to make change for the sake of change. We need to get it right, and we need to be thoughtful about how we go about it. So I think it's important, too, to note that this strategy isn't about making our members future proof, that's a leap. But that was, a bridge too far that we considered. And I think it may be healthy to talk about that a little bit, that we're being realistic. We want to make members future ready, but degree of their readiness is kind of up to you, up to the member. That we're not imposing a certain state. We might if certain things really do matter, but there's elements of this where we're leading our members to a certain point where they can make some decisions that will control their destiny.
You alluded to something that maybe we could expand upon a little bit, and that is that words matter. And taking you into the inner sanctum of directors' strategic planning and the process, one of the things that we do is when we've come up with these very important pillars and concepts is we decide what language we're going to use to convey that information. And future-proof was a phrase that we talked about early on, and once we considered it, we exactly what you said, no, we can't absolutely make sure that it's future proof, because that's an impossibility based on the fact that the members themselves have to be able to embrace whatever it is that's coming. So we want to make sure that we've got the tools for you to be ready, but if you're ready or not, it's really up to you.
Well, and sometimes when you're confronted with something like a reporter asking about a class action situation or something happening in and around that you need to be able to rely on basic principles, basic beliefs or values. And we'll talk about that in a future episode. But I think at this point, we see a way that members can help be ready for changes. Maybe we can touch on some of those. Maybe we touch a bit on technology and maybe the fact that we're no longer in an environment on the technology side where do-it-yourself is smart, prudent, or even possible. And that we need to figure out different ways to leverage things like AI or our partners. I think our partners can play a really important role on behalf of our members. And we have a role in making sure that those relationships are as focused as possible.
That's a really good point. And that sort of leads me into thinking about one of the big tech offerings that boards provide to their members is MLS services. And there are tons of technology companies that have created MLS services or similar to our MLS services that could be seen as competitors to us as well. So one of the things that we're always looking at with our work is to make sure that we've got the best MLS offering out there as well. And we're looking at that right now with our MSISC committee.
It's never ending. I mean, that's the funny thing about it. And again, the goal isn't to help our members survive. We want them to thrive. And I think that's the point. If we're not growing, we're sliding back. But we're all cognizant of change fatigue and the idea that people don't want change done to them. They want to be part of, realizing that, okay, this is a direction we need to go in. So that's where some of these punches in the face, such as, a lawsuit coming out of the blue that we think in Canada, we don't do class action lawsuits. Well, we do. And they're not inexpensive to deal with, and they're tricky. And, the tricky parts we need to deal with and be able to have those productive and safe conversations with members about what that means. And we've been having a lot of those conversations about how these things can evolve. But I think in terms of future readiness, there's maybe a lot of optimism. One of the things I love about this business and why I'm a lifer is community and individuals that really see the positive in everything and find a way to make everything feel like it's surmountable. And when we climb it together, it's more fun to do it together. It's more fun to high five somebody on the pinnacle rather than just stand there by yourself. And I think that's the realtor culture. But I'm going to ask both of you this question or frame it to both of you. What do you think are the biggest opportunities in looking to the future and future readiness might look like.
I mean, this is an interesting industry because it's an industry of entrepreneurs, right? So there is no shortage of good ideas, new ideas, changes that can be made to make improvements. And that's one thing that I really appreciated coming out of a different industry is the entrepreneurial spirit of our members and what they see and what they bring forward. Biggest opportunity wise, I don't know. I'm still kind of gray. Like we talk about the MLS, and I've heard lots of people say like, there's got to be a better solution out there. Like, why can't we get it to do this or get it to do that? And I mean, we've got a really great partner in Pillar 9 and a really great, system today probably is the best in class. We're probably not going to find a better one, but how do we innovate what we have and, make it consumer facing and meet the consumer's expectations? Like, what is the next thing that the consumer wants to see? If we drill down to that next level past the members and say, like, where's the member or the consumer expectation rather going to be in 5 years? Like, what do they want to see out of their agents?
I think that's a really good point. One of the things I love about our industry is that realtors are entrepreneurs and we are very solution driven. And that's a good thing and a bad thing, because sometimes it means that they're going to jump into a new technology or some kind of tool to help them improve their business. And then it's like, oh, no, that was a little bit too much. I would love to see, and I'm coming from this as a busy realtor, but also as a former broker, ways to help our members serve the consumer better by helping them streamline everything that they do. So it's whatever piece of technology that you can put in that would help them solve a pain point. And I think we have a lot of pain points in our industry that we can work to solve. We can do that in collaboration with our other stakeholders in this industry. And what I love about CREB is that we're focused on that. We're not necessarily going to do everything alone. We're going to seek out collaboration and partnerships with others in order to help our members in their future readiness. But yeah, who knows what's coming? It's kind of blue sky. It's kind of exciting.
It is exciting. And maybe to sum it up, it feels like future readiness really means being equipped for change. And that change coming in things like tech, competition, consumer expectations. And I guess it's really about resilience. This is going to be a real test of our resilience, which I think is going to be fun. So, and that leads into our next topic, and you can come back and join us. We're going to talk about our mission, vision, and values, because I think resilience plays a real role in all of those. So thank you. Thank you.